What did you make of what he had to say?
Well, I felt that he was very honest with us, and some of the questions were hard ones to answer. Particularly, I thought him allowing us to know that LeBron was in and consulted on the situation, what was going on, and I agree with him 100%. When you have somebody who understands the league and has been in the league 15 years now and has such a great feel for the players, why not go and get his opinion? Doesn't mean you have to do it, but at least you're hearing his thoughts on it, how he sees it, and why not involve him? He's part of your family.
I love the fact that he talked about the culture and the culture of that locker room. He thought the culture wasn't good. And they lost a lot of players that didn't play a lot of minutes last year, but were culture guys. James Jones, Richard Jefferson. Over the years, they lost guys like Mike Miller, Kendrick Perkins. Those guys help set the culture, and those young guys grow because they can gravitate towards good vets. This locker room didn't have those type of vets. The culture was a little shaky, and Kobe Altman, congratulations to him for realizing that and acting on it right before the trade deadline.
It was interesting that Channing Frye was one of those guys because he was considered one of the positive culture guys in that locker room. In terms of what they are now, one concern you heard immediately after the trade is, okay, who's their second scorer? Who's the guy who can create his own shot and make things happen, either when LeBron's not on the floor or when LeBron simply doesn't have the ball in his hands?
Well, I think when LeBron doesn't have the ball in his hands, they have several guys that can go out there and get their own shot. Guys like Rodney Hood, he's averaging 17 right now. Kevin Love's going to come back and offer them something, as well as Jordan Clarkson. He's the guy that you can come in and ask for instant offense. But the biggest thing is, I think LeBron James is going to have to probably be a lot more of the LeBron James we saw against Minnesota, doing a little bit of everything, having maximum effort on both ends of the court, almost similar to like a Russell Westbrook. Like Russell Westbrook always brings that energy and plays at that up-tempo type of pace all the time. I think we got to see LeBron really pick it up and step it up, and he's capable of that.
There are plenty of guys who can score and who have had big scoring nights in the league. There really isn't a guy on the roster right now, you look at it, certainly not in the Kyrie vein or at his best the Isaiah Thomas vein, who you can just say, okay, go make something happen.
Well, let's look at what this team has been all about for the last 3 years that they went to the NBA Finals. They have to make three-point shots.
Right.
That's how they've played the game. That's how they were structured. You lost one of those guys in Channing Frye. But Hill is shooting 45%.
Yes, leading the league.
From the three-point line right now, which isn't bad. Love obviously will stretch him. JR seems like he's almost back into the rhythm where he can give him that three ball every now and then. LeBron, when he was playing out of his mind to start the season, when they went on that 18 out of 19 game winning segment, LeBron's numbers, everybody was saying, were incredible. They were career highs in 3 or 4 different categories. But when he slumped, the team slumped.
Right.
So maybe it just shows us how much he was carrying that team. And then when he couldn't do it in the month of January, the team failed as a result. And everybody else was playing bad. And Isaiah came back, and he wasn't what they thought he was going to be. Maybe he wasn't ready for that. You've got some guys here, like we just talked about. Clarkson can get you 20, 25 on a given night. Hood can get you 25 on a given night. Energy from Nance. This is a nice job by Kobe.
Nance is key. I love Nance. I love the pickup. Nance is the guy that we're not talking about enough. We're talking about Rodney Hood and we're talking about Clarkson. But a guy like Nance who can play the 5 for you, be a very good athlete, quick jumper. That's the one thing about Tristan. Tristan is not a quick jumper. He does a lot of things good for you, but he's a 2-foot jumper, which means it takes him time to catch and gather and finish. Nance can finish quick. You see that dunk right there? He can almost have a Clint Capella type effect for this team. The fact that when he sets a screen and rolls to the basket, the weak side knows they have to come early or else he's going to sit on the rim and be dunking the basketball. He can activate the weak side for guys like Rodney Hood, Kevin Love. I think Nance is very important. And also, if the Cavs do get out of the Eastern Conference, a guy like Nance gives them another big that they can use to switch the screen and rolls because he can stay with some of those guards and some of those quick guys on the perimeter. He has good feet.
They're a lot younger. They're a lot more athletic. Does this mean the Cavaliers will finally start playing as fast as Tyronn Lue has said he wants them to play, but hasn't been the case since he arrived?
I think we have to give this team time, and we have to see, hey, are they going to play fast? What the tempo is going to be? No one is quite sure yet because we don't even know who's going to start. They're going to start George Hill. They're going to start Clarkson. We don't know yet. We have to give them time. But now, finally, Tyronn Lue has the athletes to get up and down that basketball court. The team he had before, they were an older team. D. Wade was older. IT was coming off a hip injury. You had Channing Frye. That team wasn't a team that could really play at a fast pace. This team, you got some athletes, Nance, Hood, Clarkson. Man, you got some guys that can go do it.
And think about this. If a number of those new acquisitions wind up on the second unit, he might play 2 different styles of play. He might play one way with the first group and play a little bit differently with that second group.